Hello, it is Acacia Developer here, and welcome back to my Portal 2 Beginners Mapping series. We're on part 5 now, I believe. And today we're going to be focusing on implementing a puzzle into our test chamber. As you can see in our previous tutorial, we've already added the elevator platform, so the player will be able to get up to this little area up here using the platform. And another thing that I wanted to highlight was in my previous tutorial there was this weird thing that happened where if you look here in the 3D viewport, these are our indicator lights that we put on the walls and the floors that turn orange when you press the button. In my part 4 tutorial, these indicator lights magically disappeared for some reason. I think the one on the wall was still here, but it was just all these down here had disappeared. The reason why, because I didn't actually know why whilst I was recording. It was because I cut the floor. And remember where we kind of cut the hole in the floor to put the platform in using the slicer tool, whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of it. But what happened was when we cut the floor and the floor separated into different bits, this completely messed up. Oh god, the window's open on my other screen. But it completely messed up the brush faces field here. So pretty much it wasn't going to render properly on the floor. So all I had to do was just reapply the brush face and it just reappeared again. So that's that anomaly solved, that mystery solved, if you were wondering why those lights disappeared. But anyway, that's enough of me rambling. I think it's best if we get straight into implementing some more stuff. The idea today is to implement a portal gun, and what I want to create is a separate little room area that the player can only access using the portal gun, to which they can then obtain the cube to put on the button to open the door. Well, that's the idea for today. I'm going to try my best not to cut everything short, because I know that in my previous tutorials I say I'm gonna do something, and then suddenly at the end I change my mind because the video has dragged on for way too long. So I'm going to try my best not to skip anything today. So anyway, what I want to do is maybe create a new platform over here that the player has to get to. So we've got our little kind of platform up here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to duplicate this. Remember what I showed you in the previous tutorial. All we do is go into one of the 2D viewports. For this situation I'm going to be using the top-down view because it will be easier to drag this into the corner. But what we're going to do is we're going to hold down Shift, left click, drag, and then we can drag it into the corner. And as you can see, we have duplicated this piece of geometry at the other side of the room, the opposite side of the room. And I'm just going to shrink this a bit. I may turn the grid up a bit. Alright, there we go. If I shrink this a bit into the corner, I'm just... Okay, 128 by 128, that's a nice size for this platform. Also, we can always copy and paste our info player start up here just to see what the size is like. But once you've done that, make sure you always delete the info player start that you've duplicated, because you don't want 2 info player starts in the level. That's not a good idea. Yes, so we've got our little platform up here, and this is where the portal gun is going to be held. What we're going to do is we're pretty much going to create our own podium. I don't want to make it too high, and this is just going to have like the portal gun model on top of it. And yet again, there's more windows opening on my other screen. So we're going to texture this no draw. Remember what I said before, it's always good to no draw before you actually texture it. It makes it so much easier. So make all the faces no draw, and then texture only the sides that the player can see in the level with an actual texture. That'll do. Well, it looks a bit. Yeah, it looks a bit. It doesn't really blend in with the environment very well, but it just looks a bit strange, doesn't it? Sorry. Yeah, let's just make it that texture. I think, yeah, that'll do. Right, so we've got our podium. I'm going to copy and paste my info player start again because I don't know how high this is. I'll make it a little bit lower. I want it around kind of maybe the waist, just over the waist level. Yeah, that will do. Okay, so I can delete him now. Right, so what we need to do now is we need to place our portal gun onto this. And what we can do is if we go to our entity tool, and up here we're going to type gun, is it? Yep, okay. So what you want is a weapon underscore portal gun, and we just click on that, and then like always we just click on the scene, and there is our portal gun. Now I'm going to turn the grid size down because I want to place it in the middle. Also I may change the direction a bit. So it's facing a certain way. I must admit, a strange thing about this entity is if you look at the kind of like the anchor point of the rotation, it rotates, the point of rotation is somewhere just behind the gun, so it has this really weird rotation thing that it does, but so it kind of moves a bit as it rotates, and so once you've rotated it, just position it accordingly so it's correct. So here's our portal gun. So what we can do is we can double click on the portal gun now that it's placed correctly on our podium, and as you can see we do have quite a lot of control over this object. So we can specify whether or not the portal gun fires portal, can fire the blue portal and the red portal. We can, in fact, we can set it to either shoot both portals, to shoot just the blue portal, or even just the orange portal, if you wanted to. So you can specify that. For our situation, we're just going to keep both of them enabled because we want to be able to shoot blue and orange portals. If you look here, it says show potatoes, and if you're wondering what that is, if you've ever played Portal 2 single player, there were a few levels where the player actually had GLaDOS as a potato on their portal gun, and kind of potatoes appeared stuck to the player's portal gun. And pretty much what this does is if you select this to yes, then the GLaDOS potato will appear on your portal gun. I really do hope you've played Portal 2's single player before you've started mapping for it. But if you haven't, I really recommend playing it. It's quite a good game. It's quite long, but it's quite a good game. But anyway, let's not diverge from the tutorial. So as you can see here, we've got another option entitled Starting Team, and we've got orange, blue, and single player. Right. So for our case, since we're producing a single player map, we'll just leave this as at single player. But orange and blue, these options are for when you're creating a co-op map. Orange represents Peabody's portal gun, and blue represents Atlas's portal gun. Like I said, these are irrelevant for what we're doing right now. But it may be that if I do a tutorial on how to create a co-op map, I'll cover both of these for you. So anyway, it looks like everything's set up. Everything looks okay. We don't need to change anything. Now, the only thing is at the moment we've got our portal gun, but the problem is that the player can't actually get to it. We can move up using this platform to this area over here, but we're not I think it's, you know, safe to say that we're not going to be able to make this jump. So what we need to do is, I was thinking maybe another moving platform, and it will be very much similar to our elevator platform, but the only difference is the fact that this platform will move across left and right here, as opposed to up and down, which is what the elevator platform does. So I thought that since I'm feeling really lazy today, I'm gonna copy and paste this platform up here with the invisible brush as well, so the player can stand on it, and physics can be transported on it as well if we need it to. I'm just gonna let the edge is here. I'm just trying to match it right up to the edge. Okay. So when creating stuff like this, I always recommend that you put the platforms in their starting position. So pretty much we want the platform to start over here, and then if you look at my mouse cursor, it's going to slide over here, and it's going to slide back again, slide over here, slide back again, and yeah, that's how we're going to do it. And it's always easier to put your platform, whatever you're going to move, in its starting position of where you want it to start. But you know, I know what you're going to say now. You're going to say, oh, it's Acacia, it's floating in midair, it's so unrealistic. I thought, well, you know, for the sake of the tutorial, I might as well implement a few aesthetics. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create kind of like some little wires that will connect up with a rail on the ceiling, and then at least the platform won't look like it's floating in midair. In fact, I'm not even going to bother to no draw this. Like, I am so lazy today. I mean, if you're making a map, a serious map that is probably going to go on the Steam Workshop or whatever, what I'd say is make sure to no draw everything, and then texture the faces that the player only sees, and that ensures that the faces that the player can't see are actually no draw. But just don't do what I'm doing now. I'm just creating straight textures, but that's because I'm feeling lazy today. Right. So pretty much we're just going to drag these over to each edge. Select these. Shift left click them over here. I think that's there we go. It doesn't look that good. It'll do I think. We're also just going to place some rails up here. And then what we're going to do is we can kind of stretch them across like this, over to here. or whatever. I mean, if you wanted to, you could just stretch them right across the room. So look, can we find another texture which isn't so? Because I think it stands out a little too much. Maybe blue. Blue looks alright. Let's texture these blue as well. Actually no. I think they look alright in black. This looks alright in blue. Alright, so now we're going to duplicate our rail across. Make sure it meets up with our support wires here, whatever you want to call it. To be honest, I'm not even sure if you can class them as wires. They're just like freaking pieces of geometry. But it's just for demonstration purposes. So this is already a func move linear. Okay. For this situation, you may be asking, can we use a func move linear to move this side to side? And yes, we can. So I'm going to call this platform 02, so that we don't get confused with platform 01. Speed 50, that will be the same as the other platform, it'll be alright. Now, the move distance is going to be completely different. We're going to have to remeasure this. If you remembered, when we were creating the elevator, we measured from the top of this brush here to the top of the platform up here. But in this situation, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be measuring, if I can find it, here we go, we're going to be measuring from here to this platform over here. So all we need to do is just I'm going to select my geometry creation tool just so I can measure this. So we're going to be moving a distance of 160. Actually, it wasn't far out, was it? 160. There you go. Right, so that should move correctly. I'm not sure. I'm not going to have any sounds for this one because it's going to be bloody annoying if it's moving backward and forward and all you can hear is an annoying resonating sound. But pretty much that's all we need. Now, one of the problems I always freaking have is the move direction, because you don't actually know what this direction is, or what this direction is, or what this direction is. I don't know what direction it's going to move in. We'll see once we get into the game. But obviously we need to complete a few more things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to go Control T, and basically that's going to convert them into func details, but what we want is a func brush, because of course we want these to move with our func move linear down here. So all we need to do is turn these into func brushes, and since we've already named this platform 2, we can pretty much just parent this to platform 2. You can either click on this drop down and select it from the list, or there's this kind of little pipette kind of tool thing, and you select it and then you can click on the entity you want to parent these to in the 3D view. It's another nice little optional thing that Hammer gives you that I like. Now this is going to be... Oh, I've just found a problem. So if we select this model here, the actual platform model, we need to... The problem is this at the moment is parented to platform 1, so it's going to be parented to this. What we want is we want it to be parented to platform 2, so it moves with this func move linear. Alright, so that looks alright. Now, what we're going to do we're going to customize this a bit, and because obviously this platform is going to be working a bit differently to the elevator platform. And as you can see, we've still got, since we duplicated it, we've still got some stuff in here from platform 1. And I think it's a case if we just change it to platform 2. So once this is fully open, so when this platform is fully open, if you look on my mouse cursor, the platform will be over here once it reaches its maximum distance mark, and then when it closes it will move back to this position again. So like I said, it's like the elevator platform, except instead of moving up and down, it's moving left and right. So what I want to do is, instead of doing 1.5, I'm going to do it 0, so as soon as it hits that point, it's going to come back. And we're going to add another output, and it's going to be on fully closed. Platform 02 is then going to open again. So pretty much what we've done here is this is kind of like an infinite loop. Once the platform is fully closed, it's going to open again, and then once it's open, it's going to close, and pretty much this is going to keep looping, and this platform is going to keep moving. So what we want to do, first of all, is we want to trigger this platform to start opening as soon as the game begins. And this is kind of like a little technique that I like. So first of all, let's say the player, instead, because it's awful at the moment, the player's kind of starting facing a wall. Let's say the player's going to start directly under the platform where the portal gun is. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new piece of geometry under here. Just scale it down so it's, just hits the top of the platform. And then we're going to go to our texture window by clicking browse at the side, and we're going to search for something called trigger. And what you want is tools trigger, and it should look like a kind of like an orange square with the word trigger inside it. We just double click on that, and then we're going to press enter. Now pretty much what this is going to be is that this is going to act as our invisible trigger, and this is going to trigger this platform up here to begin moving, and then once this has started moving, it will be in its infinite loop. So open, close, open, close, open, close. So if we click on our trigger, go Control T, remember there are loads of different settings you can apply to brushes in here, but what we want is we want to trigger once, because we're only triggering this once. So in our trigger once, we're going to make sure that the start isn't disabled. If it is disabled, then the trigger won't actually execute any outputs when the player enters the trigger. If we go to flags, we want to make sure that clients is selected. And what client means, it's pretty much just referring to the actual player. So if the player, if this is checked, the player can trigger this trigger. If NPCs are selected, then NPCs can. Pushables, physics objects. If you select physics object, if a cube, like a physics object like a cube hits the trigger, then that's going to trigger. But for now, we're just going to keep it at clients. So on the output, we're going to click add. We're going to select on trigger. So when we're inside the trigger, we're going to specify platform 02, and then we're going to say open. So pretty much what this does, the player starts inside this trigger. So when, in fact, when the game starts, this platform will now automatically move since the player starts within the trigger. But if I were to stretch this like this, then this platform wouldn't actually start moving until the player has walked through this trigger. So pretty much we're kind of forcing this platform to begin, since the player has no way of escaping the fact that they're triggering this trigger here. Now what we're going to do, we're going to stop now, and we're going to go in game, and we're going to check out and see if the platform moves in the correct direction. I have a funny feeling it's going to move out of the wall or something like that. I have a funny feeling, but you know, fingers crossed it'll work. Anyway, I'll see you in game. So we're in game, and like I predicted, the platform is moving weirdly. I'm really not surprised, to be quite honest. But for now, what we can do is, if I just bring the cube up with me, there we go. We're just going to test if, yep, there we go. So pretty much I'm just testing the physics just to see if the cube can be held on it. The player can travel on it as well. The only problem is the platform is moving in the incorrect direction. Oh, we still can't jump onto that. So one more thing I just want to test is that I can't no, I definitely can't jump onto that platform. We're going to go back into the game and we're going to sort this problem out. And yeah, so now we're back in the editor. It's time to correct the movement of this platform. For now, I've switched to wireframe mode so you can see the platform through the ceiling of the test chamber. Now if you remember, if you look at my mouse cursor closely, the actual platform is moving this way. This is where my mouse cursor is moving. Now if you look, I've oriented the view so the direction it was moving in is the correct orientation relative to this little icon here. So pretty much, in order for the platform to move this way, which is what we want it to move to the portal gun platform, all we need to do is rotate this around here like that. So obviously it's going to be 0 degrees. So can you see how we kind of use the original movement as the reference point? We're now going to go back into Portal 2 again. So as you can see, we are now back in the game, and our platform is moving in the correct direction. And as you can see, when it's fully open, it closes, and when it's fully closed, it opens, and we can get across to our portal gun. Now I believe if we just walk... we have to press E. I think we have to press E to pick it up. Alternatively, I think you can jump on top of it as well and pick it up like that without pressing E. But pretty much we can now place our portals, as you can see. And since these are all portable textures, we can actually place portals anywhere, pretty much. And do our infinite portal jump or whatever. So yeah, and now we can transport the cube wherever we want. We can go over here if we want to without using the platform. So pretty much that's all the portal gun implemented. Now what we want to do is we want to put the cube in a kind of cordoned off area that we can't really get to unless we use the portal gun. It may be that I kind of place a grill or something like that in front of a little separate room where the cube is in, so you can only get in there with the portal gun. So let's go and do that. Right, so we're now going to create our separate little room. If you have no freaking idea what I'm talking about at the moment, don't worry, because you will in a minute. What we're going to do, could we use the I'm not sure whether or not I'd want to use the snip tool or whatever it's called again. What is that tool called? God, I don't know. The tool we use to cut the floor. I should, to be honest, if I'm doing tutorials on Hammer Editor, I should really know what it's called. But, sometimes I just completely forget the terminology. I haven't used Hammer in such a long time. I used to use it years ago, but it's just that I haven't used it in a while. Right, there we go. So what we've done is kind of duplicated and resized the wall to create a little space up here. And this, I can't select anything probably, but this little hole in the wall is going to be the entrance to our other little room area where we can get the cube. Obviously, what we want to do is we want to put a grate over. I might as well just do this in no draw. Set a good example for all you mappers out there. I'm just going to decrease the grid size so it's a bit thinner. I always like to make like metal grates and stuff like that very thin. Right, we're going to press enter. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select this side and this side, because these are the only sides that the player pretty much is going to see. I'm going to click browse, and I think we can, if we just type in grate, we got a load of different textures here, grate textures. We could, what's this one? This one. There we go, that looks alright. So as you can see, this texture is automatically transparent, so don't worry about having little black spaces in between the grey. I know that's what it kind of looks like in the texture window, but in fact it's completely transparent, and quite a few grey textures in the engine support transparency, so don't worry about that. It's just a case of cycling through the textures and finding the one that suits you, really. Anyway, we're now going to create our little walls here. Go for our no draw. Let's have a look. I'm actually going to focus on the floor first. I'm going to duplicate this little floor down here where the button is. I'm going to place it up onto into my little room up here. Pretty much because I just want to make sure that all the tiles match up correctly. What I dislike is if one of these walls were like this, and you had like a load of whole tiles here, and then you had like half a tile here. I just, half tiles here. I just don't like it. It might be a part of my OCD, but I always like to keep my maps clean like that, make sure that everything matches up. Maybe we could do like a little passageway down here. And then we'll just extend our wall out here. There we go. That looks alright. And then, as for the ceiling, we just thin this out a bit. We'll just duplicate it up here, and then just rotate it, like so. So, here's our little room. I'm just going to quickly add all my checkerboard textures in. And there we go. Also, it may be useful to have, because we have a light in here, but we don't have a light in there. Should I no, I'm not going to copy it. It'll be way too bright. If I remember, we made the main light in this room in here really bright, so it illuminates the whole room. I'm just going to search light, sorry. And we'll just place it in the center of our little room up here. And we can change the brightness to, oh God, we're not going to want it as much. probably 80. There we go. That'll do. And also, we cannot forget this. We have to get the cube, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it, so Control X, and then I'm going to paste it up here. And so pretty much we've just removed it from this room and then put it in this room. But anyway, yeah, so that's our cube up here now. And also, something that you have to consider, that the whole point of this puzzle is the player's going to come over here on this platform. Or should I say she, because the player is Shell. But you know, the player's going to get the portal gun, and then the whole point is the player needs to get the cube from behind the grate. But what they can do, potentially, is they can actually stand on this button, the door can open, and then they can just shoot a portal through here. Because as you can see, this is a portable surface, so they can just shoot a portal here, shoot one here, and they can get through to the end without having to get the cube behind this grate here. So I think what we need to do is we need to apply a non-portable surface behind here. So it looks like we're going to be using our cutting tool again on this. Let me just see where that. Yeah, it's going to be around here. Alright, that'll be easy enough. So if we just get our tool, just make sure that you set it so it retains both sides, because we don't want to miss a side. And we'll cut up here as well, cut here, and should that be it? So now this should be a surface on its own, and the rest of the wall should be, yeah, intact. Right, so this is its own surface now, and what we're going to do is we're just going to select one side of it using the texture application, and we're going to set it to, let's just say, metal black ceiling. And by default, this texture is non-portable, so you can't shoot a portal on it. There's nothing you actually have to do within the editor to make a texture non-portable. I believe that all the settings for the textures being portable or not, it's all specified in the actual texture files, and you can't specify it in the editor. So, same goes for this wall. We're going to have to cut a chunk out of this so the player can't portal into here. So, just make sure, yep, keeping both sides, and that should be the edge. And always check that you've cut correctly. Usually what I like to do is I like to remove the chunk of the wall just to see that I've cut, yep. That looks alright. I just like to remove chunks of the wall and then I undo it to put them back in their original place, just to check that other parts of the wall don't move with it. And this, in fact, is its own floor brush, kind of like inside. So I reckon we can just straight out texture this with the metal texture. Right, just screen select both of those faces, and then we click apply, and there we go, there's our face. Oh god, I nearly forgot the ceiling. This is the thing, you gotta think of these things, you gotta be careful. Right, as for this, does it really matter, do we? No, I don't think it really matters as such, because the player can't actually see these walls when they're standing on the button. As you can see, you can only see the dark textures from where we're standing. Near the button here, and pretty much this will just prevent people from portaling inside here. So anyway, I reckon this is the puzzle completed, pretty much. So let's go into Portal 2 and let's test the puzzle out. So we are inside our test chamber now. We have our moving platform, and we have our grate up here now. As you can see, we can't actually get into the grate because we don't have a portal gun. We can't get into that room yet. What we can do is press this button to go up. Alright. And of course, to get to the other side, we're going to have to jump onto this platform now to get to the portal gun. We get that. Right, and now we've got the portal gun. We can shoot a portal here. Shoot a portal here. And we are behind the grate now. And we have got access to the cube. So we can take that through here. We can put that on the button. And then we can walk through to the next test chamber. So, and just to show you, if the player didn't have the cube and the cube was still, you know, behind that grate, like behind there, and the player stepped on here, the player isn't actually able to portal through here. And I don't believe you can, you can't run through it. Always remember not to put your button too close to the door, because if you do, the player may be able to run off the button and quickly get through the door. But in this situation, it looks completely fine, and the player isn't going to be able to get through. So this concludes today's tutorial. I really hope you found this helpful. If you want me to provide any more clarification on anything I covered in this video, then feel free to comment, and I'll try my best to help you, and I'll see you soon.